Dear Jeff, congratulations. One or more presentations you are presenting has been accepted to the 2022 CCSS Conference, March 4th through 6th, 2022 in Orange County. So today I wanted to talk about how do you submit a proposal to present at the California Council for the Social Studies. So how do you submit a proposal to present at CCSS? First of all, do you have a palabra or a word to share? What is your why of why you would want to share at CCSS? And I have a feeling as you think about this, many of you do have a word to share. In fact, I talked to many educators. They have so many innovative and interesting ideas. I definitely think they should be sharing at a conference like this, but oftentimes they hesitate. So that's why I'm creating this series on how to present at CCSS, because my hope is that many young and emerging leaders will have a desire, as they overcome these barriers and challenges that they experience, to add their voice to the collective whole to benefit California, to benefit our country, and of course to benefit our students. So first of all, for those of you who feel a little nervous about presenting at conferences like this, I encourage you to look at episode 25 of EdFamily, where I talk a little bit about how to get over the fear of public speaking, especially to other teachers. I know every day as teachers we're presenting public speaking to students all the time, but sometimes presenting to teachers is completely different. So I created a EdFamily tip on that. So what goes into the application of CCSS? I thought I'd go over the 7 questions that they ask. And the reason why I'm talking about this now, because the application period for this upcoming conference has actually ended. But actually now is a good time to think about preparing your materials for CCSS Conference 2023. Not this upcoming March, but the following March, because the application is probably going to be due early fall. I know that this year's was due at the end of September. So it's good to kind of have your idea now, have a draft of some of your ideas now, so that when it comes time to present this upcoming September, you'll have something ready to go. So the first thing they ask for is a 100-word bio. And so for myself, this is where I would talk about having worked in education for about 20 years as a teacher, instructional coach, civic lead, and teacher educator. I might talk about some of the distinctions received, including Civic Learning Award of Excellence, or I could discuss a little bit about my doctorate at USC in Educational Leadership, or MBCT, National Board Certified Teacher. But whatever it is that you feel you've accomplished that you're proud of, that's what you'd want to put concisely into 100 words. So that's actually good to have for a variety of different venues, because you might be asked to speak not just at CCSS, but at many different venues. So it's actually good to have something like this. Even grant applications oftentimes ask for a little bio. So although actually I'm talking about CCSS, I'm hoping that the same presentation that you're developing or have developed can be shared at your grade level teams, at your school sites, to your department chairs in your district. So there's a lot of other venues where you can present this. I don't want to say practice, but you have an opportunity to present, and because then you could just benefit so many people with this one presentation or variations of this one presentation. But yeah, it begins with that 100-word bio. 2, a title for your session. So thinking of an interesting title that if you were to attend a conference, what would be a title that kind of pops out at you and would make you want to attend that workshop? Now for me, my title is Ethnography, Supporting Our Students with Knowing and Telling Their Story. And so if you've been on the EdFamily channel, I've had a whole series on ethnography, on supporting students to know their story, to be able to tell their story, to listen to one another's story with empathy and respect, and then to do something good with their story. So a lot of that material actually is going to go into this presentation at CCSS. So thinking of, once again, a good title for your presentation. Number 3, presenters. Now, sometimes you want to present by yourself because there can be a benefit to that, right? You only have to worry about your schedule and how, and you could be thinking about how you want to deliver the content. But other times, sometimes it's helpful to work with another person or work with a team of people, depending on who you're collaborating with and your schedule and your situation. For myself, I'll be collaborating with another faculty at Cal State Fullerton. And some of the things that we talked about on EdFamily, including PhotoVoice, they're actually using now in the teacher preparation programs. For example, to build teacher cultural competence, not only knowing about their own culture, but understanding the cultures of others, especially our EL and plurilingual learners. So the PhotoVoice lesson that we shared earlier is now actually being used in the teacher credential program, and this professor will be sharing a little bit about that at CCSS along with me. Next, you'll want a short description of your workshop. It says 60 words here. So session description, 60 words, so concisely being able to explain what it is that you're going to be talking about. Then there's a 1,000 character where you talk about purpose and objectives. So what is the purpose and objective of your workshop? So for myself, it's for folks, educators who are taking their first steps into incorporating ethnic studies, Asian American studies, or Korean American studies, those who are kind of initially beginning with the first couple of steps, like where do you begin? It's mainly targeted for those folks. So you'll want to think about for your own workshop, who is this targeted for? What is the purpose and what is the objective? Also included is an outline and strategies. So this is number 6. Outline and strategies of what it is and how you're going to present. So if you talked about the why, the purpose and objectives, now we're moving on to the outline and strategies. It's about another 1,000 characters. And so for myself, I broke it up into 6 parts. The first part is 5 minutes, knowing your why. The second part is 10 minutes, beginning with what you know and your curiosity. And so all these are a part of the EdFamily YouTube videos that I've already created on ethnography and ethnic studies. Then part 3 is the My Story of Resilience project-based learning. Part 4 is going to talk about future plans to incorporate a virtual Asian American museum where students themselves are the docents able to tell their story, curate their stories, and share their stories and the stories of their community with one another. And then the last part of the lesson is an opportunity for Q&A. Now, is this how I would typically do a workshop or lesson? Probably not. Usually if it's a smaller group, I might have a lot more interactive engagement. However, I'm just assuming in my mind it might be more auditorium style, larger workshop style, so I'm preparing for more of that type of venue. And then the last question that they ask in the CCSS application is the connections to the conference itself. This is another 600 characters. So the theme of the conference is connect, collaborate, construct social studies in a new era. I kind of like that actually because, on the EdFamily channel we talk a lot about the 5 C's, and so that very much resonates with what I'm already doing. So I'm glad to be able to contribute to the body of knowledge that's growing in this area. And so I thought I'd read actually a portion of what I submitted on how my workshop connects to the overall theme. Very early in my teaching career, a Korean American student came up to me and said, "I'm so proud to have a teacher like you." At first, I didn't completely understand since he wasn't a student in my class, but then I thought about how I never had a teacher that looked like me in all my K through 12 education in California. And as a second generation Korean American, I was reminded of how representation matters and how that shapes a child's worldview and their view of themselves and the world around them. But where do we begin? I felt as though an ethnography might be one of the first steps to approaching the topic of ethnic studies, Asian American studies, and Korean American studies. As such, I designed a project-based learning, PBL, which I call My Story of Resilience, where students have an opportunity to know their story, tell their story, have others listen to their story with empathy and respect, and to do something good with their story. We begin with an ethnography, which includes an opportunity for students to connect with their own generational story, family, and culture to better answer the question many young people have, who am I? As students delve into this work, it very purposefully incorporates culturally relevant pedagogy, which taps into the students' and families' funds of knowledge. So as the day gets closer to CCSS, as there's different components, I'll continue to provide updates on the EdFamily channel. Once again, the purpose of this is to support our many emerging leaders who I feel have something to say, but maybe are wondering, what is the process exactly to presenting at a conference like this? Well, as I take my steps, I'll go ahead and share these steps with you as well, because I'd love to join you at a conference like this and present on many worthwhile topics to benefit our state, to benefit our country, because I think that's a big step in helping our students find out what they're good at so that they can do something good with it. This is Dr. Jeff from EdFamily, signing out.